Welcome to Wentzel for this conversation entitled Designing and Regulating AI in the Midst of Uncertainty.
Dialogue is crucial at all levels. I mean, this dialogue brought together government, industry player, the legal fraternity.
So events like this allow people to start to understand the bigger picture. Artificial intelligence is the subject of a lot of hype at the moment. One of the biggest things we're looking at now are very narrowly defined tasks.
So we looked at the amazing examples from medicine, where it's providing expert decision support to people like radiologists. You've got these vision to text engines which provide blind people with textual descriptions of the world as they interact with it dynamically. Major auto manufacturers have announced their first completely autonomous vehicle will be on the market on average in around 2020. So we've also got the decision support aspect. Businesses are using AI to derive high-level insights from their data and using it to support the decisions that they make right now. Going into the future, I see this trend towards taking these narrow AIs and gradually kind of complexifying them, expanding the range of tasks they perform from a very narrow task to actually synthesizing different tasks, so doing something a little bit more like human intelligence.
There's some underlying problems. Of course, the data needs to be of a specific kind. The assumptions and the precepts of what the data is and what the conclusion need to be worked on very clearly so that you end up with the right results. There's often a bias that comes from the programmer, from the people inputting the data or collecting the data.
The legitimacy of our work depends on us doing good work and us engineering things in a way that's robust and reproducible and transparent.
Ethics is this golden thread that weaves itself through anything that we're going to do in AI. If we don't get this golden thread right, I think a lot of what we're going to do inside of AI is probably just going to simply unravel.
Ethics question, as well as protecting individuals' privacy, is going to be something that we need to wrestle with as governments and as individuals, and thinking about how we think about curating our own privacy. And we're going to have to think about how to balance some aspects of our morality and how we think about our own place in the universe in the context of this evolving AI.
The first issue when we're thinking about regulation in the context of artificial intelligence is to ensure that it's balanced and proportionate. So on one hand, you need to regulate so you can create clear conditions for business and people to design artificial intelligence and to know what they can and can't do. And that also creates an environment where potentially the public will trust those systems. For example, self-driving cars, because they understand the government has considered the main risks, has taken that into account in deciding what the regulation should look like.
And then we need to have a number of engagements and dialogues with people involved in that area, bring together both people who are involved in the policy space early on with the people who are developing the technologies. As a government, we need to be cautious of who is in the room to shape this discussion. And I think it needs to be both the emergent businesses and big businesses. They're at the cutting edge. They need to be able to advise and inform government, but they also need to acknowledge that government's responsibility goes beyond big business. It has to look at citizens, it has to look at the marginalized and excluded, and is the only force, I believe, that can mediate their different interests.
The biggest thing from a legal perspective relates to liability. When it comes to artificial intelligence, there's a machine learning element. There isn't as much human involvement. The outcomes are unpredictable. What might have caused a risk or what might have caused the damage? Was it the source code? Was there a flaw in the algorithm? Was it bad data? In order to train AI systems, for the most part, what you need is high volumes of really good quality data. You need to be very careful to ensure that you have all the rights you need to use that data. And the other big thing is intellectual property. If you're thinking about innovation and you're investing in innovation, you as a business will want some protection to ensure that you can prevent copycats, so that you can ensure you can commercialize and exploit it and monetize it.
But where I think we need to be able to do is to look at other pieces of legislation like the ICT Act, the Privacy Act, POPI, etc. and begin to test from that perspective on how enabling it is for human-centered AI applications, or alternatively, what is it that we need to do to prevent unintended consequences.